You've heard these stories over and over again. Somebody, oh yeah, Joe was real healthy and then all of a sudden he dropped dead of a heart attack. Well, obviously he wasn't healthy. There was something else going on. So we need to really define and understand what health really is and how we can approach it. Okay? So over 700,000 people die every year from heart disease. Okay? It accounts for 29% of the deaths each year. And the statistics are getting worse, not better. More and more people are dying from heart disease. More people are having cardiovascular problems. And, one could argue that it's diet, it's lack of exercise, it's too much video games, it's too much TV. But it goes it's far more involved than just that. So we need to really investigate and find out, well, what's laying the groundwork for heart disease in the first place. Over 550,000 people die every year from cancer. Again, a number that's getting higher and higher and higher. It's not getting lower. The cancer treatment is becoming more effective because they are detecting it earlier. They've come up with more sophisticated tests and analysis, blood work, MRIs, CT scans, and so forth, that can detect cancer much earlier. So the success in treating it is actually gone up. However, if you look at the disease rates and the rates of death, people are still dying at alarming rates of cancer. And it's the number 2 cause of death in the United States right now. So another problem that we have when we talk about the current paradigm, the current paradigm in healthcare is when you have a disease or you have a condition, you treat it. And what do we typically treat it with? Pills, drugs, medications. So some sort of either over-the-counter, or you go to your medical doctor or your allopathic doctor and they write you a prescription for something, okay? And one of the things that they neglect to really tell us or inform us is that over 100,000 people die every year from correctly administered and correctly prescribed medications. 100,000 people a year. That's like a jumbo jet, a jumbo airliner, crashing every 3 days for a year. Now you imagine if that were to actually happen, how the industry would change, how the FAA would come in, the government would come in and say, you need to change this. Over 100,000 people die every year from correctly administered drugs. Okay? 180,000 people die every year from injuries received in the hospital, iatrogenic diseases. So they contract an infection, a fatal infection. They die on the table because of a thrombosis or some sort of complication. But 180,000 people a year die every year from that. So now what price do we pay for this? 90 million Americans live with chronic degenerative disease, which accounts for 70% of all deaths. So as the average American, if you consider yourself an average American, you have a 70% chance that you're going to die from heart disease, cancer, diabetes, or a stroke. Those are the big 4. We've already discussed the big 2, but diabetes and stroke are also in there. Okay? And then from following that kind of path, because what's the typical thing, the average 30, 40-year-old, they start getting some tests. Maybe they, because of their lifestyle, their blood pressure starts going up. Maybe they have some cholesterol issues and so forth. So they're taking medications to try to control that because they don't want a heart bypass surgery, which costs on average between $75,000 and $100,000 for the surgery. Cancer is $60.9 billion in direct medical costs. For the average person to treat prostate cancer, once they develop prostate cancer, over $2,000 a month that it costs to treat that. And it ranges up to pancreatic cancer, over $7,500 a month that they have to spend. The annual healthcare expenses for a diabetic patient is over $13,000 a year compared to the average, statistically, that the average American spends about $7,000 in healthcare-related expenses. So it's nearly double if you're diabetic. Stroke, the number 3 leading cause of death in the United States. It's the leading cause of disability in the U.S. Okay? 4 million Americans have survived the stroke and are living with the after effects. 40 million Americans, 40% of those are considered severely disabled. Okay? If you want proof of this, all you need to do is go down to any nursing facility, assisted living facility, they're all over Florida. Go into Publix and you can see kind of the after effects of a lot of this. And really it's, so the question becomes is, are we a healthy nation? Just like the top of we're not healthy, okay? The financial expenditure of the United States on health care, in quotes, services far exceeds that of other countries. In 2006, the expenditure was $2.1 trillion. That's over $7,000 per person. By 2017, this article just came out on February 29th. The spending will double to more than $4 trillion a year. That's $13,000 per person per year, every year. And all that has to do with the baby boomers starting to have more health problems and really following along the same paradigm, treating conditions with medications and having surgery. When something doesn't work, they go ahead and cut it out. Really, does anyone have like the sense that there's got to be a better way?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, there has to be a better way, because our country cannot afford to continue doing this, because it's only going to get worse. It's not going to get better unless something changes. Okay? The other fact on this is the United States was recently ranked 37th out of 191 countries in overall health.